Introducing the challenger from Cincinnati, Ohio, weighing in at 225 pounds, Dean Ambrose.
What's up, guys? It's your boy Jay Color here with another new episode of the main event. Today we got a matchup between the WWE Champion Triple H versus Dean Ambrose. Yeah, it's a recreation of their Roadblock match because today we're talking about Roadblock. Now, just like the Fastlane review, I want to go through match by match, tell you guys what I liked, what I didn't like, and then what my overall thoughts were. Now, first up, we have the New Day versus the League of Nations for the Tag Team Champions. If there was ever a specific point where it's obvious that the WWE turned the New Day face, it's this matchup. The New Day comes out first and they debut their Booty-O cereal. I really want that cereal, even though I think online where they were selling it, it turns out that it's just a empty box with a t-shirt in it, which is still kind of cool. This match was probably, I would say, the weakest match of the night. And it's really because it was just kind of a mediocre showing, but the New Day is still plenty entertaining. There was a horrifying spot where I thought Kofi Kingston had broke his neck. It just looked really, really bad. And another thing I didn't like, which has continued on since the show, was JBL comparing the League of Nations to the Four Horsemen. I mean, come on, really. But anyway, New Day retains, and it looks like they're setting up for WrestleMania, which I don't really care about this match. I love the New Day, but I couldn't care less about the League of Nations right now. Next up, we had the Jericho versus Jack Swagger matchup. Jericho comes out and he's full heel mode now, kind of trashing his own country. He called Toronto the anus, and he really got himself over going into this this AJ match at WrestleMania. But then they had Jack Swagger come out. Now, these two had a good match, but it was mind-boggling to me why you would have the face in Canada be the real American, quote-unquote. It didn't really make much sense from that aspect, and so the fans started kind of giving the match and Swagger the business, and they started chanting CM Punk, which I didn't understand. It was a good match. It was well worked, but it was sort of confusing more than anything else. And then you had what might have been next, the match of the night, when you had the Revival versus Enzo and Cass. First of all, can I say I like Dash and Dawson, but I think the Revival is a stupid nickname. I don't understand why they didn't just stick with Dash and Dawson. The alliteration was fine. This kind of seemed like it might be Enzo and Cass's swan song. They might have a match coming up at the Dallas TakeOver show, but it seems like the way that they were over, they are bound for the main roster. The whole arena was chanting along with these guys, and the two teams put on just a fantastic match. I like Enzo and Cass a lot, but I might have to say I like the Revival even more with their old school wrestling, and I love their finisher, that devastating looking, especially the way they finished this match where one of the guys came off the top rope and they hit their the Shatter Machine. Looked really good, and I was kind of happy to see that they retained their titles because it's time for Enzo and Cass to just kind of move up. Next up, you had Charlotte versus Natalya, and I didn't really know about this match going into the show, but seeing it was on there, I kind of got excited because I've seen them compete over in NXT, and that match was just really fantastic, so I was kind of looking forward to these two. They had a really great match. There was good mat work. I think they need to do something different with Ric Flair because he's kind of starting to look like a predator at this point. And it's still evident that Charlotte's number one fault is her selling. She needs to get better at that. She needs to work at that. And then the finish I didn't like because it seemed like the finish at Fastlane where it didn't really make any sense. The face had a submission on, and then they just let go. And then Charlotte wins the match. It seemed like the same thing happened at Fastlane in a slightly different way, and it was just as confusing here as it was at Fastlane. But overall, good match. Next up, you had Brock versus Bray, which might have been the biggest disappointment of the night because Bray Wyatt didn't actually compete in the match. It started out as a handicap match, where Luke was involved, and I was like, alright, maybe they were trying to present a bigger threat to make it seem like Bray's victory might be a little more credible. But then Bray didn't even step into the ring. And to Luke's credit, he got in a lot of good offense on Brock Lesnar, but it's Brock Lesnar. And Brock Lesnar he took him to Suplex City, he dominated him. Bray walks out and he looks weaker than he's ever been, and the fact that they didn't go through with the build match is just disappointing. If there was maybe a problem where Bray was injured, which there have been some rumors about, then tell us that. Don't just seemingly take away the match that was billed. The whole thing was it's impressive and it's fun to watch Brock dominate, but the fact that it went down like this was disappointing. Next up, you had Sami Zayn versus Stardust, and I think Stardust is really underrated. I've liked Cody Rhodes for quite a while, but it was mind-boggling to me that he got so much offense in, and it killed the crowd. Now, I enjoyed the match. I liked the psychology of it. I liked Sami Zayn coming back at the end. But with this being still near the beginning of Sami Zayn's big return to the main roster, they needed to protect him better. And I just don't understand why they did this. And it didn't help going into the main event that they sucked out so much of the momentum and the energy. And so we had the main event. Now, it started off kind of slow and mediocre, but as it went on, it really got great, and it turned out to be a top quality, great pay-per-view main event quality match. And I was really quite impressed with Triple H's work. I was impressed by how good they let Dean look. The crowd started chanting CM Punk again, which I didn't understand. And as we went into the end, you had a nice table spot. Like, Ambrose started getting a lot of good moves in. Well, before that even, they had the false finish with Ambrose, which was just devastating. And then in the end, Triple H wins. And what was a good match, but this is what I'm going to say about the entire show. It's my whole problem. It's my problem with the main event. It's my problem with the whole show. This show had no purpose. We were disappointed by Fastlane. And to answer that, the WWE said, well, here's another show. And we're going to do the same thing to you here that we did at Fastlane. We're gonna take the wind out of our own sails. We're going to disappoint you, make you hope that something about WrestleMania is going to change, and then say, nope, we're sticking with the same old, same old. Like, why did they add this show? Just to mush WrestleMania in our faces a little bit more. It didn't make any sense. You could have had this stuff on Raw. I just don't get it. Overall, the matches in this show were great, but that fact alone made Roadblock disappointing. Thanks for watching, guys. I will catch you next time. Peace.